This is not a reason. So I have finished my part. Daniela, it's up to you.
So, based on what my colleagues just said, we decided to present some facts about this type of discrimination. Here in Portugal, we can see a huge difference before 25 of April and after the 25 of April. Before 1974, women didn't have the right to vote, they couldn't pursue some careers, they received less 40% than men. So nowadays it's completely different. We can still see a huge difference between what women get paid and what men get paid. It's not 40%, but it's still a huge difference. So I think we still have a long way to go. Women are still seen as the weak gender, and it's more difficult for women, for example, to involve in their careers than men. Only 6 countries give women equal legal work rights as men. Belgium, Denmark, France, Latvia, Luxembourg and Sweden. In education levels, less than 40% of countries offer girls and boys equal access to education. And it also said that women make up more than 2/3 of the world's illiterate adults. Also anew from 2018, Tokyo Medical University marked down the test scores of young women applying to embark on a career in medicine to ensure more men became doctors. Another example is the Middle East countries, where women are seen as men's possession. They don't have almost any rights. For example, they only get the right to drive until a few years ago. They can't travel alone. They always have to travel with men, with their men or a man that their husband choose. Obviously, women are the most discriminated gender, but let's not forget about the men. There's a pressure for men to be strong and masculine. And, for example, women can't achieve some jobs or some careers because they're women. And for men, what happened is that some jobs are considered not masculine enough for them. It's a little more difficult to find information, facts, or news about discrimination against men. But I found one interesting. A French employer granted female employees a pay half-day holiday to celebrate International Women's Day. But when a male colleague asked for a half-day rest, his request was rejected. As we see, here we have discrimination positive for women, but it's negative for men. As we can see, the gender inequality is huge. Women are the gender that suffers the most discrimination, but as we can see, it still exists discrimination against men too. Now we're going to show a video that represents gender inequality. The video is focused on culture, African cultures, but we think it represents quite well this problem.
Gender inequality doesn't make sense on any level. By marginalizing the rights of women, we deny ourselves the opportunity to lift millions of men, women and children out of poverty, not to mention the chance of a just and fair world. From birth, girls and boys, women and men are expected by society to play certain roles and behave in certain ways based on traditions, religion, and other beliefs. These behaviors are learned and shape the gender norms in a society. Unfortunately, in many countries, gender norms create disadvantages for women. Often, girls are not sent to school. When they become women, they then have limited ability to earn money or realize their potential. Rural women play a major role in agricultural development. However, in many developing countries, women cannot formally own land. Without land, they cannot get loans to invest in their farms or businesses. This also means they have no control over the use of land or the benefits that come from it. Men generally control the household decisions, like how to use the family's assets. These disadvantages are often reinforced by practices that limit women's access to services, like training. Cultural beliefs can also restrict women's opportunities. such as in parts of Zambia where women cannot paddle their boats as it is considered bad omen. The result of these issues? Women remain poor, and agricultural production cannot reach its potential, perpetuating poverty and hunger in the developing world. The social norms that limit women's opportunities need to be understood and then changed. By taking a gender transformative approach, we can influence social norms and bridge the gaps in access to resources and services between men and women in a lasting manner. Change is needed on many levels, and both men and women must be involved for it to happen. Research and development organizations need to invest in programs that promote gender equality alongside improving productivity and incomes. Policies need to be implemented that increase women's access to services and resources. Communities need to support women as farmers and as leaders. Increasing women's voice and agency is a valuable end in its own right. When development organizations, policies, and communities support the success of women, we have a chance to reduce extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity for girls and boys, women and men around the world.
Well, with the accomplishment of this work, my opinion on the subject is that men and women have to have the same rights. However, given the current situation in which there is still a great gender inequality in relation to women, men could learn more from women, know how to listen and learn from them. I would like both genders to have the same rights, job opportunities and expression freedom without criticism in the future, and to value both genders equally.
So now is my opinion about this theme, and basically the origin of stereotypes lies in education, and that is where the solution lives. Therefore, it is important to ensure that gender stereotypes are not repeated in history, since history should serve to learn from it and not to repeat it. Whether against men or women, we have already had a lot of evidence that we are not going anywhere with outdated and stereotyped thoughts. Everyone is free to be and to do what they want, and nobody has to contest that. It is more important to educate ourselves as a society than normalize judgments and unjustified discrimination. A world of equality is not made of equal people, but of people with equal rights so that they can be different.
My opinion on this and on the basis of what has been going on in recent years is that gender inequality will continue to decline. Although I think it still has a long way to do, I also think it involves the existence of campaigns with more credibility than those that exist today, because many of them have some radical attitudes that end up not helping at all. Stereotypes should also diminish, and it goes a long way through education that people have had since babies, because in this case it becomes more difficult because it's a preconceived concept about something, and this make things more difficult. I think that.
I really like to do this work. This is a very important subject, and I think everyone should have awareness of this problem. I also think this problem shouldn't exist anymore, because boys and girls, women and men, they all should have the same opportunities and the same equal rights.